we're in AP Bio, so let's go drop some knowledge, get AP credit for college. Alright, it all starts in the dendrites. Once they ignite from an excitation, the neuron waits in anticipation. Will it make it go? I don't know. Gotta reach a certain threshold so it can trigger an action potential, allowing communication to unfold. Otherwise it returns to being restful, where it's pretty uneventful. But if it hits a limit, the threshold, that's the all or nothing principle. Watch the results of this chemical impulse right in front of you, allowing ions through like a neurological conveyor belt, making up a membrane. And that's what Jerry is about to explain.
This membrane is made of a fatty acid chain, which maintains the same frame due to the aqueous properties that they exert chemically. Hydrophilic heads point out happily, while hydrophobic tails are repulsed another route. No doubt, this is essential for any potential. The neuron cell is encased in this lipid shell, both ends connecting by the sting like a string. That is the axon, which is acting as a pathway to relay a message away. Does this each and every day, seeming to be going on endlessly. Beneath the myelin sheath, message travels more rapidly, so they can be received quickly. It's no mystery, the neuron is engaged in cellular message transportation, like dispersing bursts of information, acting as the body's receiving station, like a biological AT&T powered by ATP, taking it and rearranging it as microscopic organization, little obnoxious sorting all into place. But that's where the cell body comes into play, also called the soma, and it's gonna send a flow within us, triggered by a previous stimulus. That's the process Dan will discuss.
Nothing quite compares to the intricacies of the fluid mosaic bilayer. None of these structures is static, they move around in the air, more dramatic than may first appear. Membrane seems insane, but have no fear, it all becomes more clear when you hear they're maintained by various proteins. I mean protein, not the only thing but everything. Key to cellular messaging. Call them the king cause they can bring ions across a membrane like they were on a string. Then the neuron starts reacting to the actions. Electrical chemical jolt like a mini lightning bolt, increasing the number of volts to the threshold. Instigates depolarization, which is making ion gates open with positive ions flowing. Voltage goes through the roof, allowing the action to ensue, sending sodium gates into a feedback loop, needing their neighbors to follow suit. When that is through, repolarization takes place, throwing out excess potassium like a disgrace, but intentionally overestimates sending its refractory time period, which may seem really weird. But it just means a larger stimulus is required for the same neuron to be fired. Almost at the end where the message is sent, gotta dissipate the flow so the charge of the action is spent. This happens at the axon terminal. The electrical pole of its electric signal allows calcium ions to flow through a specialized channel, investing those ions in a protein, which means vesicles can go on as neurotransmitters flow on through the neuron, bridging the gap of the synapse called the synaptic cleft as it goes on to the next neuron, which engages in chemical theft at the dendrite, taking neurotransmitters and fitting her right nice and tight into an active site, just as well sending the cell into flight, while the previous is off like a burnt out light. But that's quite alright, it waits to reuptake each and every day. That explains the way cells communicate, with some complexity that becomes you and me. And that brain, our thinking machine, chemically all the same, yet such diversity. I think that's everything. I'll see y'all in biology. Alright, cut the beat.